Good evening, everybody. Well, or good morning, or good afternoon, depending on where you are. Back in the studio this week, which feels nice, but oddly a little bit different. After live streaming from out and about, it was it was a little bit a little bit hard to do this week to stream out and about. And I mean, I like streaming from the studio because I can do things like I'm going to do tonight, which is show you some photos and some stuff that I've been doing. So sunrise, I am not streaming from the wing of a biplane. That would be kind of fun though, but the audio would be a pain in the neck. So, no, Michael, that's the 150 to 500, which is this guy right here. Substantial lens. I feel like I should be like, say hello to my little lens. Yeah, this is a big lens, but we'll talk about that in a second here. I know Alaska VFX is in here. Richard Black, hey, welcome. And Richmond Aerials, Super Stole 50, nice to see you. Michael, Vonner and Bredner, thank you. Welcome. And I know a few of you have been looking at the drone course that I released, and I appreciate that a lot. And those of you that have purchased it, thank you. Thank you very much. It is, yeah, hopefully it brings you a lot of help. And I would love to hear your feedback and comments about it. I'm pretty sure you can leave comments there in the course. So, yeah. So what else? Oh, yeah. So I had a couple of questions that I wanted to tackle real quick, and then we'll jump into this Tamron 150 to 500 discussion a little bit. But I've had a couple people ask me about like which should be my first drone. And I am going to do a whole video about that soon. But I really recommend the Mini 2 for your first drone because it's a little easier. You don't have to worry about registration as much. It's easy to fly. It's really stable. It's not expensive. And frankly, it's pretty darn durable, man. I've the times that it's crashed a little bit and kept flying or, you know, replace the props and it goes flying, it's just fantastic. So if you're just getting into drones, I still recommend the Mini 2. There's probably affiliate links in the description if you want to buy one. But if you are a photographer, videographer, and you know that you're not going to be happy with the video quality or the image quality, especially if you do photo work, then I would recommend the Air 2S because it's really, really, really nice for photos. Alaska VFX, was I able to recover anything from the formatted cards? I was not. I tried and had zero luck. So, and that's the reason everything has been a little delayed. I was going to have a couple of videos out by now. Instead, I'm having to go out and shoot them again because I formatted the cards. Don't do that, kids. And the thing was, I was thinking about it and just kind of like mindlessly going, oh, format. And then it was like, as soon as I hit format, I realized my mistake. Brett Alston, welcome. So, yeah. So I would, if you just want to see if you like drones, if you just want to jump into drones a little bit and try them out, then I would start with the Mini 2. I think it's one of the best drones on the market right now for that size. I mean, it's just the size, the weight, all that is just fantastic. Okay, so let me see. I got to figure out how to do this really quickly because I have a bunch of photos that I'd like to show you. Let's see. Blah, 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 blah. Not there, not there, not there. Oh, wow. I took a lot of photos. Oh, wow. Yeah, okay. Let's see. Da, 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 da. You know what? Maybe I'll just do this. Sorry, I should have done this beforehand. I didn't really have time because, quick story time. I went kayaking today to film video about this. The Tamron 11 to 20. Fabulous, fabulous lens. I freaking love this lens. It's awesome. But I went out and I got there. If you follow me on Instagram, then you've seen the story already. But I got out there and then it started pouring rain. Well, raining. Pouring rain is relative compared to where you live. But it started raining pretty dang hard. And yeah, so it was like, oh, crap. So I filmed as much as I could, got a little bit of break in the rain, filmed a little bit more, and then started heading back. On my way out to the glacier where I was filming, I noticed something red on the opposite shore across from me. And by the way, I'm telling you this story as I'm trying to get OBS to load some photos into it so that I can do this. And let's see. Actually, I think I got to do this and that and this and that. What? Oh no. And so on my way back, I thought, oh, I'm going to stop by and see what this red thing is. At first, I thought maybe it was somebody who had paddle boarded over part way. And then, oh, good. That'll work. Sweet. Okay. Somebody who paddle boarded over and was like, you know, stuck somewhere or something like that. And so, or not stuck, but like had stopped somewhere to get off on the one little section of shoreline and see what was going on. Or something like that. It was not the case. As I got closer to it, I realized that that this was a full-on kayak that had gotten swamped and was stuck on these rocks, presumably after one of the big storms that we've had go through in the last couple of days. So I got it over to shore. I got it bailed out, opened it, so I could tow it back anyway. I got it back to the people whose kayak it was, and found out that the person who had that kayak actually got stuck on the far side of the lake, is in the hospital recovering from hypothermia apparently. Will be fine, but just goes to remind you that even on a lake in Alaska, like, it can turn to a survival, an episode of survival really fast if you're not careful and you don't know what you're doing. So, if you go out or you come up here to explore or anything like that, welcome, enjoy it, but do be careful. So, all right, I'm sorry, I have been ignoring the chat, but I am ready to show you a couple things. Formatting cards, did that, then... Yeah, unfortunately, Peter, I was there. I was so upset. I had some good stuff too, and I was really bummed because I filmed a whole bunch of stuff with this in a really cool location. I literally went back to that location, which is a 15-mile trip total. Like 10 of that is kayaked and 5 is hiked, and just to film it again with this. And then yet today I was trying to film the other stuff that I had formatted. Yeah, sunrise, exactly. As soon as I hit format and I started to go, time slowed to an almost stop, and I tried to turn the camera off and pull the card out, but it didn't matter. It was already done. So, Mark, is that a Fender Jazz in the background? It is. It is. And you bought the Tamron 28-200. Oh, cool. I hope you're enjoying that lens. I really like that lens. It's great. Hey, Gums and Roses. Awesome, TDI. Fantastic. Glad to hear it, you guys. Lynn Kanab, you just got the Mini 2. Love it. So easy to fly safely. Yeah, it's a great little drone. I love the Mini 2. And if anybody ever asks, they're like, and I'm like, unless you're a serious photographer and you're going to register your drone anyway, probably get your Part 107, then start with the Mini 2 because it's just a great drone. Okay. So let's see. These pictures are not from, the Tamron 150-500. I will show you some of those pictures here today. These are from the 70-180. Look at the size difference in those lenses, by the way. 70-180, 150-500. But there are some differences. This has stabilization built in. It's got a clutch on the zoom ring. It's got 3 different modes of stabilization, some switches, different, focus modes. I've been playing with this, and of course it's big and heavy, so it has a cool thing, Arca Swiss compatible plate here with a 1/4-20 built into it, so you can mount it to your tripod. Now my tripod, all I use is Arca Swiss, but the photos I'm about to show you are taken handheld with the 70-180. Oh, cool, Art. Cool, awesome. Well, if you're looking for a backup lens, the 11-20 is fantastic, Art Carso. That's awesome. Oh gosh, you want to smack some? I am going to show you some photos I did take with this lens. Like the day I got it, I ran out and took some photos with it because I was like, oh yes, I want to test this lens. But these photos I'm going to show you are not from this lens. These are the 70-180. And basically it was me and some friends, and it was a fairly nice day. This is also, if you follow me on Instagram, Twitter, you've seen my FPV drone chasing my buddy coming into land. But so this is me sitting in an airplane, chasing this other plane, and then I switched and jumped into that plane and chased my friend Keith, doing some air-to-air stuff, which, if you've never done air-to-air stuff, it is incredibly difficult with an unstabilized lens because everything is moving, and you're flying 100 miles an hour, and then both of you are moving all of the time. So it's very challenging to do and to do well. But we got some good ones. I took like 300 photos and came away with, I don't know, 20 good ones, maybe 30 good ones. So these are just some of the good ones. Of course, have to have the glacier in the background because, that's what you do when you're in Alaska. This is my favorite. Like, I love this photo. It just, partly the contrast of the colors, the iceberg, the blue iceberg and all that. It just, such a good photo and so much fun. So lots of fun was had. This was on Monday, I think, is when we went out and took this. And yeah, so, and if you're wondering, that's a Super Cub, popular Alaska bush plane with Tundra tires on it, 2 seats, and flies, takes off short, takeoff and landings, good for bush work, and yeah, lots of fun. So I thought I would share some of these because it was a lot of fun doing it. All right, but now I got to switch a bunch of stuff up. I'm going to close that, open this, go back here. Okay, so these are literally the first thing and the reason I went out and did the air-to-air stuff was I knew I had the Tamron 150 to 500 coming, which to me is like the ideal wildlife, bird, and airplane lens because it's so much range and because it's stabilized. And so I wanted to do some air-to-air stuff just to make sure I kind of knew where I wanted settings and stuff for when I actually go do air-to-air stuff with this. And, you know, I only had the 70 to 180 at the time. So, but I got it and ran out to hit Anchorage International Airport because lots of airplanes fly in and out of Anchorage International Airport. If you didn't know, the airport here is the 4th busiest cargo hub in the world. So, sorry, I got to switch my window preview here. And you know, we get a fair amount of... oh, can I even do that? Uh-oh, maybe I can't. Wait, where is the... Aw, I can't. Okay, I gotta do a different way. Anyway, so I'll continue to tell you a story while I pull a bunch of these photos out. Hopefully don't crash my computer. So there's lots of airplanes flying in. So I went out to... undo this. So I went out. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, you guys. I should have done this earlier, and I just didn't quite have the time. Out to the Anchorage International Airport to shoot airplanes as they came in to land and take off. Because I thought, what better location than that to do a bunch of handheld stuff with this, which has stabilization built in, and just see what's possible with this lens handheld. And this is probably going to take forever, so I'll just go back to there. And yeah, it's a great performer. I'm very excited to use it. That'll be one of the ways I test it, is doing some air-to-air stuff. And then one of the ways I'll test it is like wildlife stuff and things like that as well, just because, I mean, obviously. So, yeah. Let's see. Okay, Richard Black. So I'm going to go back to the chat wall because I'm exporting a bunch of photos from Lightroom. And while that's doing that, I'm going to talk to you all. Thank you, Peter. Appreciate that. Super still lots of work doing air-to-air. Man, it's a ton of work. It is. And it's awesome. But it's a lot of work. So let's see. Best Richard Black asked what the best budget tripod is. Budget is very relative, but I would look at some of the like 150 range for the for like $150, I would look at Manfrotto or iFootage. iFootage makes some fantastic stuff. It's a little on the heavier side, I think, a little bit, but it's really well made, and they're both kind of right about in that 150 range. So the Manfrotto, I don't know what it is, like a 502 or something like that. Man, you guys are chatting up a storm. I'm never gonna catch up. Hey, Bud Beaver. What camera body did I shoot those photos? Am I shooting photos with? Right now with the A7III. I love that camera as a photo camera. And I know it makes no sense because it's not a photo camera, but it takes fantastic photos. They look great. Tons of dynamic range. Just absolutely brilliant. I love it. Probably Alaska VFX. Yeah. Let me see how close it is. Oh, it's done. Yay. Let me close Lightroom because Lightroom is a resource hog. And I've got Final Cut Pro open too. Oh, no wonder. I didn't realize that was open too. All right. You're welcome, Richard. Yeah, I've got one in my like travel kit when I go out to do corporate stuff. It's a Manfrotto something or other. It's aluminum. It's good tripod. That's great. And then I've got the iFootage one over here in the corner running this camera with the slider on it. So yeah. Let's see. Mike Matthews. If I ever run into a grizzly bear, can you take pictures of them? You'd like to see them. When your dad was up there years ago, you didn't worry much about them, but you're scared to death. I haven't run into any grizzly bears. I almost ran into a black bear the other day. Like literally almost ran into him. We looked at each other for a minute and then he ran off into the woods. And yeah, but I am going to try, especially with this lens, I'm going to try and do a lot of wildlife stuff because to me, that's where this lens is really brilliant. A7S3 for Moment. Oh, cool. Unfolding ideas. Awesome. Good. All right. Let me see. Now I got to switch this around so I can show you the other photos because that's what I'm doing. Let's see. Desktop. All right, here we go. It's amazing how fast you can take a lot of photos when you're just happily snapping away. And I gotta admit, like, that's where I am glad to use a 12 megapixel camera because if I was using an A7R IV, good Lord, would my would my memory space fill up fast? I mean, it fills up quickly already. It just is a matter of like, yeah. Here we go. Okay. All right. So let me pull this out so we get that. There we go. All right. We're ready to go. So here are photos that I took with the 150 to 500 handheld. And by the way, it's not receiving enough video. Why? Probably because my kids are streaming a million things. Yeah, okay. So my was out hand shooting with this, and the wind was blowing 30 to 50 miles an hour, depending on, you know, if it was gusty or not. So it was very, very windy, which makes it really challenging to do anything handheld. But I still was pretty happy with some of the shots that came away. Let's see. Thoughts on the 28 to 75 versus the Sigma 24 to 70. Mike Mueller. Okay, Mike, this is, and I've been called out on this, but I'm sticking by it. This is my 3-year-old 28 to 75. It's still, well, you can't really see through it because the aperture closes. It still is dust-free on the inside. Still focuses really well. Performs perfectly. Has been through some of the worst weather you can imagine. I used it today to film some stuff with. My Air 2S was in large part filmed with this lens, the review. I love that lens. It's a great lens, the value. The only reason the Sigma image quality might be a little better, but the only reason I'm hesitant is I've heard a lot of people having issues with getting dust inside. I don't know if that's a like widespread issue or if it's just, you know, the people that put stuff on the internet. But yeah, so. Oh, Peter Julian, thank you. Vanguard VO2, great low-cost carbon tripod. Yeah, if you can get a low-cost carbon tripod, do it, because carbon is so great. Unfolding ideas. You choose the Sigma for the wide end. Yeah, and that's the only thing is like the 24, being able to go all the way out to 24 is really nice. So yeah, for full frame. If you're shooting full frame, Mike. If you're not shooting full frame, then we should have a different conversation. Let's see. 10 feet from your son. I bet, Maxim. It's funny how that happens, huh? Okay, so these are the photos I took with the 150 to 500. If I can switch, there we go. And then I need to do this. There we go. All right. So this, and again, this is, 30 to 50 mile an hour winds, me holding it handheld at between 250 to it's a couple of times it was 500 millimeters to catch these. Most of those, like that was probably more like at 200 to 150 millimeters coming in. There you can see I got hit with a pretty good gust of wind coming in. I was really just, the fact that I could hand hold it at all in those winds and actually get some usable photographs. I was shooting between 100 to 400th of a second shutter speed, just because depending on what what you're trying to capture. And then, now I'm shooting him like a mile away. And yeah. I was really surprised at how well that lens could do it. And this is the reason I wanted to shoot airplanes with this lens, is because it has stabilization. You can get propeller. And so if you see there, I've almost got a complete circle. It's really hard to get. Like there you get, windy and everything gets fuzzy. And so I basically sat there waiting for a few propeller airplanes to come by. And like this one. So there I was shooting this at 100. 100, and I think this was at 350 millimeters ish, 350 millimeters at a 100 shutter speed of 100. And there you see the whole entire propeller, and that is really nice for shooting airplanes. Just FYI, because it looks good. It's horrible when you shoot an airplane at really high shutter speed and the prop is like frozen in midair. It doesn't look right when they're flying. Obviously, they should be coming in and landing. So, and yeah, a few of them are fuzzy. That one's not too bad. But it just, yeah, I like this one because I got the jet coming in, the Alaska Airlines jet, and then behind him was a little propeller Cessna Caravan coming in from somewhere in western Alaska. But the lens is impressive. It's really sharp, really acquires focus quickly and really, really accurately. And there's a few times I had to manually focus to kind of help it find where we were going. But as soon as I got it in the ballpark, it just would snap right on the object and be great. Yeah. There's that little Caravan. See, that was like 160th of a second. And you can tell the prop is already starting to break up. Still got a little blur to it, which is good, but not like the full circle. I always want to get the full circle. It's really difficult to do without a stabilized lens. So, yeah. And then this is Anchorage, the Anchorage skyline from a couple miles away, like a few miles. That's at 150. That's at more than 150. I don't remember exactly, but yeah, just reasonably impressed. I'm pretty dang impressed with the lens so far. It's a nice lens. I'm really excited to go out and really push it and see what it can do. So now we can talk about the lens a little more and whatever else, because I've totally ignored the chat. But a couple of things about this lens is, so it's, it has a lock button. Then you can zoom out to 500, which means the lens does zoom out quite a bit, and it's a big lens. You can also lock it. It has a clutch, so it'll lock the zoom ring. And then it has the buttons for your focus distance, if you want it to be infinity to 15 meters, 3 meters to infinity, or the full range, which this is helpful if you're shooting a lot of stuff further away. Then you can leave it there so it doesn't try and close focus on anything. And then you got your autofocus manual focus switch, your vibration compensation, there's stabilization, optical image stabilization, and then your modes, what type of stabilization you want it to do. I was shooting mostly in mode 1, but if you're panning, mode 2 is built for panning, and it does a really good job. And then this is like handheld portrait work. It was amazing. It's so sticky on when you frame up a subject, and then it's just like stuck there. So thanks, Sunrise. Thanks for being here. Appreciate it, man. Have a good one. Jake, you won't believe that's not. I'm playing one of the guitars. Alaska VFX. Sorry. It's not happening today, especially after paddling in the rain all day. Yeah, Peter Julian, I agree. I would like to have done that. Unfortunately, no prop planes took off, and where most of them were landing, it was the wrong direction for the light. The other thing you really need to get the good prop blur is have the light behind you as the photographer. It's got to come behind you and hit the prop and kind of shine off of it. So, and none of those things was happening for me that day. So, but yeah, this lens is awesome. This lens is awesome. This full review of this should be coming Friday, I think, if I can get out and refilm everything that I deleted. And a couple of other things. I've been using this, the DD4 Duo, a lot. They redesigned the windscreens a little bit, and it does much better in bigger, more windy conditions, which is very welcome change. And then just for fun, Insta360 sent me this, the Insta360 Go 2, which I like. I don't know. The uses for it there are uses for it, and they're not a lot, but it's a tiny camera. But what I'm going to do is stick it on the back of my big FPV drone when I'm filming with the Komodo. So I get like a third-person view of the drone with the Komodo on it, going through the places I'm going, because I think that'll be a fun use case scenario for the Insta360 Go 2. And yeah, so we'll see. Well, there goes another $3,100 Canadian, Maxim. Yeah, I know, it's not cheap. Although it's cheaper than some of the alternatives, I will say that. And it is nice. It's, what is it, 82 millimeter filter thread on the front. Like, it's just, I mean, look at that glass. Isn't that? Of course, it's super clean right now, too, because it's a brand new lens. I don't get to keep it. I'm only being lent it for a bit. But it is a nice lens, all weather sealed. Good thing today, too, because it did get a little bit of rain on it. And, it's a big one. Yeah. So, I don't know. I didn't think I would need to add it to my kit, but I might be. It's really nice so far. We'll see. So, I would like to know from you. So, this is the part where it's a question and answer. And if you're just joining me on the stream for the first time, then sorry, this one's a little discombobulated. I didn't have time to put my thoughts together because I got back right before we started the stream. But normally this is a lot of question and answers. So if you have a question about drones, cameras, lenses, stuff I've been reviewing, you ask in the chat, and I'll do my best to answer it here because it's a lot more interactive and a lot better. And then I tell you my thoughts on different things. But in this case, I would like to know like specifics about what would be valuable, like Smaxum, you're talking about getting it anyway. What would be valuable to you to see me do with this lens? And I am going to try and the same with this, I'm going to try and upload some files and have a place where you can go download the files for this so you can see what the photos look like, because I'm really impressed overall, but you should check it out yourself. So, and the same with this, like what would be valuable for me to test? My plan is to go out and test with airplanes, do air-to-air stuff, and then go test with the wildlife, birds, other kinds of wildlife, and probably try and do some landscape nature stuff too, just because I think it'll be fun, cool that you can isolate. I love big zoom lens, telephoto lenses for landscape because you can isolate just what you want in the landscape, and it's really fun. Yeah, so nothing wrong with disco bobbles. Mike, Monojeep Grief, that's exactly. I am going to try and get some bald eagles with this. I was looking for them today when I was driving, and I saw a couple. They were just sitting on the beach, so I will probably go down tomorrow if the weather's decent and try and shoot them. So I will. That'll definitely be something I will be shooting, is some bald eagles. We've got a bunch of bald eagles and juvenile bald eagles up here right now, which should be great. Vonner, you'd say sports? Ooh. I hadn't thought of that, Vonner, but I could try. Actually, this would probably be a really good sports lens. Probably everybody else will do sports, but who knows? Video tutorial showing driving the thing. Interspeed with what I see through the lens. Oh, okay, Ann Bretner. That's interesting. So I'm trying to shift the way, and part of the reason I'm doing this differently is shift the way I'm doing reviews is more of like a little bit more story driven, still with the info in there, but just a little bit more story driven than just sitting down and being like, this goes f2.8 all the way through zoom range. It goes from 11 to 20. It has a 67 millimeter front filter thread, stuff like that. Yeah, it is weather sealed. I tested it today. Seems fine. Alaska VFX. Yes, it is. Depending on what type of shooting you're talking about. So, yeah, maybe in Bretner, I'll put a GoPro right here. And you can have a POV view of something. So, you can try that. Eric Patak, it would be interesting to compare the mid-range of this lens with the telephoto range of Tamron 70 to 300. Ooh, that would be fun. Oh, I wonder if I can get I might be able to get a 70 to 300. I think our local shop has one for rent, and I might be able to get it. That would be great. But yeah, I thought about putting it on the camera tonight, except for I obviously have to move a bunch of stuff around. And then I was like, but literally, I would have to scoot to the back of the room because we're talking 150 millimeters just to start out with. I'd have to go way back there. So, Smaxon, what's the aperture on this one or this one? The 11 to 20 is fixed f2.8 all the way through, which is really nice. That's really well in low light. I gotta say, this lens is better than most primes that I've used on APS-C, including the Sigma series. It's really good. The 150. Okay. The 150 is f5 to 6.7. So f5 to 6.7, which means on the short end at 150, you can also close the aperture down to f22. At the long end, at 500 millimeters, you can close it down to f32 if you want to really close things down and you are shooting in some seriously bright conditions. Just have a close-up on an eye. That would do it. Should I do it? I'll wait till the end of the stream and I'll do it. How about that? I need another E-mount. I could do it on this camera. That's an E-mount. I got an E-mount adapter for it. You want me to do that? Should I put it over there? Because I can't. I couldn't balance it on that slider. It's too big and too heavy. What's the weight? Substantial. I don't know off the top of my head. It does weigh a fair bit, but it's it's heavy. I will say that. Let me see. $1,400. Hey. What is the weight? It's 4 pounds. 4 pounds. 1.9 kg. So 4.2 pounds. That's what that is. That's a fair amount. That's hefty. It's hefty. I'm not going to lie. Thinking about going hiking around with this lens is but it does take some really nice photos. So I will hike around with it for the review. Kayak maybe a little more and do some airplane stuff and maybe some helicopter stuff. We don't know. Who needs barbells? That's right. And Bretner, you sit there and you do your lunges and your squats with this, and then you just curl. Peter Julian, not quite backpack material. Not like light backpack material, that's for sure. Which is what I do love about the other lenses from Tamron is they are lightweight and compact, and they make it great for traveling. But this is a different animal. This is not like I mean, it is a travel lens if you do a lot of nature bird type stuff, I guess. But yeah, this is definitely like your sniper lens, where you're like sitting way back and you want to be able to just, get right in on something. It would be great. This would be a great event lens, I think, and definitely, like, and Bretner was saying, a really good sports lens, because you can get right in there, got good stabilization, really, really good autofocus. Yeah, it's fantastic. Bill Dow, a nice travel lens is the Tamron 18-400 for Canon EFs. Is that for the APS-C size Canons? Or is that like the full size? Lynn Canable. Canable. Yeah, Lynn Canable. I think I've been saying your name wrong this whole time, Lynn. Sorry. It would be a good stakeout lens, because you could sit way back and zoom way, way, way in. Good grief. It is heavy. Crop lens, Bill. Yeah. That's what I'm kind of curious. Okay, so Tamron's done the 17-70, which I still think is probably the best APS-C lens for Sony E-mount APS-C. This is the second best. The 11-20, in my opinion, so far, is the second best. The image quality coming out of this rivals a lot of the Sonys that I've seen. It definitely blows the 10-18 out of the water, even without image stabilization built in. It just, the image quality is so much better out of this lens than the 10-18 in my experience, at least the 10-18 that I used way back in the day. And the image quality it's on par with and maybe beats out like the Sigma, 16 millimeter and stuff like that. It just is really, really shockingly good. Especially that wide, like at 11 millimeters, you would think it'd be all kinds of warped and weird, but it's really good. So, hey, Phantom Flight 101, welcome. Peter Julian, how does it match up to the Sigma 150-600 Sport? I don't know, and I don't have any way to access that one. Yeah, I don't have any way to get a hold of that particular lens, unfortunately. Do they even make that for Sony E-mount, or do you have to use an adapter? I don't think they make that for Sony, do they? This on an APS-C lens would be, or APS-C camera would be, wow. It's a little lighter. This is a little heavier than the Sigma. Also, the Sigma has a 95 millimeter front end. Holy crap. This is 82. That's 95 is gigantic. Dang. Wow. That's impressive. It's adapter only, Peter. Oh, okay, yeah. So, still, it's got everything else built in there, I think, right? All the, yeah. Yeah. So, I could show you. Well, yeah, no, I'm going to wait on that, because I was going to show you some photos from this little guy here, but I'm going to wait. This is a really tiny lens, by the way. So this is the 28-75. Like, look how little that is comparatively. It's such a small lens, which makes it such a great travel lens, because there's like next to no space. It takes up next to nothing. It's so little. It's fantastic. Like this is the 17-28 from Tamron, the wide angle full frame, quite a bit bigger. So, just, yeah, this lens is awesome. Okay, Mark Foss, that's what I was thinking. There was no native, at least not yet. But Sigma's been coming out with some stuff for Sony E now too, which is pretty cool. Guns and Noses. You have an old Sony A65 APS-C camera and the Sigma 50 to 500, great for sport, wildlife, and stitched landscape panos. Loath to update because it's such a good kit. Then don't update. Just stick with it. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, you know, part of the way I make some income off this on this channel and be able to pay to go to these places and do the things I do is affiliate sales and stuff. But I am a big proponent of, like, if you have something that's working, don't update. There's no reason to spend money you don't need. Like, if the same reason I recommend the Mini 2 for a beginner drone. It's a great beginner drone. If you don't need to spend $1,000, don't. People ask me how they start YouTube or how to start making videos, and I'm always telling people, like, if you have a phone that's 3 or 4 years old, even use that. Excuse me. Let's see. Maxim, you would say it should have a little less vignetting and probably a little sharper due to the 100mm less zoom. Yeah, that's a good possibility. I messed a little bit with looking at vignetting and stuff. There wasn't much that I noticed, but I need to look at it a little more and you know, make sure like all the in-camera profiles are off and stuff. I'm pretty sure I had them off, but I was in a hurry, so I may not have had them off. But yeah. I like it. I like this thing. It's cool. And I like the fact that Tamron did the whole, like, this plate here. Let's see if we can do this. Is Arca Swiss compatible as well. So if you use Arca Swiss like I do, you can just pop it right on. In fact, let's see. I haven't tried this yet, but it should work. In theory, right? I should be able to pop this right on here. Yeah, just like that. And it's locked into the Peak Design travel tripod. Just like that. Ta-da! Probably, if I mess with it a little more. Yeah, anyway, it works. It works on the Peak Design travel tripod. You can put it one side or the other of the little, like, hook things, which you can always just, these little things here, you can just pop them out if you don't want them, but I keep them in there. The guides are just little Allen keys to take them out. It's good. Ness, it's going fast. I like the Sigma, what is it, the 18 to 105 for Canon that a lot of people adapt for Sony. Or the 18 to, no, it's the 18 to 35. That's still a fantastic lens. Really, really good lens for Sony. Adapted, really sharp, really great. Yeah. So, yeah. So if you have questions about this, ask me in the chat. If you have specific things you'd like to see me go shoot with this, put it in the chat so that I can remember later. I guess a few people have complained about the lens clutch being too easy to do. I mean, it pops out easy, but I haven't found it like that easy. And if you really want to turn it with it out, you still can. I'm really glad they locked it because this is a heavy lens. I don't know if it'll go out that way, but I know if you have it this way and you go like this, it will settle eventually, but it's locking. Nice. And one thing that's interesting that Tamron hasn't done before that I've seen is there's a rubber ring around the outside of the lens here, which I'm assuming just helps to seal it up a little bit with the lens cap and helps to guide this on a little better, I guess. Yeah, pretty cool. And, all right, let me see. I wonder if I could do this like this. I'm going to see if I can pull in just a few of the photos from the 11 to 20 because it really impressed me how good the photos are from it. Pretty sure I haven't deleted any of them. This one, this one, this one, that one. The other thing about the 11 to 20 is it has a really, really close focusing distance, which was impressive. That one. That one. All right, I'll put these out here. Let me do this. I'll probably screw up my whole computer again. But I'm only exporting a few this time, not like 60, which is what I did last time. Where are we here? Let's see. 4 pounds for 500 with IS isn't that bad. Your EF7. Yeah, that's what I think, Vonner. Like the Sony 70 to 200 is about 4 pounds, and I can't remember what the Sony, what is it, the 100 to 600, 100 to 400 is, but it's significant. Like it's not. There's the 100 to 400, but then there's also the the 100 to 400 is a little bit lighter, which would be pretty close, but honestly, I think I'd prefer this. The 200 to 600, which is probably closer. How much does that weigh? That's 4.5 pounds. It's over 2 kgs. It's heavier. But I mean, really, it's like you're talking about a huge zoom lens with IS, which is great. Really, really not that bad. All right, I've got those images now. I just have to go over here. Only a few images because the rest you'll have to wait and see when I do the whole review. But so this first one, I gotta go in here. I gotta do this, 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 that. All right, so this first one here is this is the 11 to 20 at 20 millimeters, which is not bad. Like there's a little bit of pin cushion distortion, not a lot, super easy correctable in post. This is it at 11 millimeters. I forgot, wrong window. There's some barrel distortion. Obviously, this is no correction, no in-camera corrections, nothing. This is the raw photo just coming straight off the camera. So there's definitely a little distortion there, but still not bad. And the thing is, like, the corners are pretty sharp, not bad. And I did notice as soon as you stop down to like f4, f5.6, the corners are sharp, super sharp. So the center is excellent. The edges are good. You know, average, maybe a little better than average, but they're good. I don't remember what this was taken at, but sun flare resistance, pretty good. Sun was shining straight in. I did not have the little lens cap or the little sun hood on there. So not bad, not bad. This is taken, you know, sitting on the front of the kayak, looking there. This might be at 20 millimeters, I think, if I remember right. So, and then we had to go low light and try out the low light. So this is like a 1/5 of a second exposure or something like that. Maybe a little more, but not bad. not bad for low light. And this is at 11 millimeters, 2.8, f2.8. And then this is my favorite because the star. I like stars. I know some people don't, but I like them. And I was really excited with how the star turned out on this. So this is like f16 or f13 at 11 millimeters. I don't remember what the ISO was, but I had to boost it a little bit in post and stuff, obviously. But yeah, I was pretty excited about how that lens handled things and how it turned out. Really, really, really not bad. So now that everybody's left the chat, I'm sure, who wants to see me? ISO's through the roof. Yeah, the ISO, I mean, that was pitch black. The only light in that whole place was my little Lume Cube. And, you know, what are you going to do? I think it was a 3200 maybe, which on an APS-C camera is, you know, not the best, but it is what it is. Yeah, so we got 5 minutes left in the stream. Thanks, Peter Julian. Yeah. I could clean it up. There's no noise reduction on it. There's no, I mean, that was pretty much just straight. I think I boosted the exposure a hair in post just to pull it up a bit, but I could clean it up if I wanted to, get rid of some noise, you know, put some noise reduction on it. It's coming, Smaxum. And you will be able to download some of the raw files. So you can get the raw files. You can play around with them. You can try them out, see what you think, and have fun with it. Yeah. This is the Tamron. So this is it's made by Tamron, but it's made for Sony APS-C. It does work on full frame, but you have to crop in a little bit, 1.2 times to get rid of the vignetting on the edge. But it definitely works, and it's not bad. Autofocus is great, super fast, super responsive. Yeah, really, really good. So. Yeah, I agree, Peter Julian. A little cropping a hair, a little bit of noise reduction, clean it right up, I think. But again, you know, that was pitch black except for me. And so, and you think about, you go, like, I'm in a pitch black place. Why would I stop the lens down to f13, f14 to do the starburst thing? That's all I wanted to do. But it's like, well, then I got to ramp the ISO way the heck up there because I think I kept the exposure sort of short because it's me standing there with the light. Like, I standing still as I possibly can. I'm still going to move just from breathing and stuff. So I tried to stand as still as possible for a half of a second, or I think it was a half second. And yeah, just try to make it as good as I could. So yeah, anyway, lots of fun. How well can you reduce the barrel effect on your Lume Cube miniature images? What? I don't understand what you're asking in Brittner. Like the more you stop down a lens, the more apparent those starbursts will become. And so you can use it like as an effect if you want to. It can be a thing you can do on purpose. Most of the time, like in daylight, what you've got to do is you've got to find the point of light, and then you've got to find something that's going to obscure it, stop the lens way, way down to like f16, f22, whatever it'll go, and then move the camera to where that pinpoint of light is just right on the edge of whatever that thing is, and that'll create that really strong starburst like that. But when you're in a totally pitch black place, it's a little easier. So, okay, I'll put this on real quick on the A7S III for fun because, you know, why not? And we'll see how it looks. Oh gosh. I can barely even fit that thing in here. There we go. Okay, you ready to see an extreme close-up? Like, oh my gosh. Here we are. Like, let me see. Let me do this. You can see like how far away I am from my desk. Like full hands, and I could just get my face in there. But Not bad, right? Not bad. And that's at 150. Dear Lord. It has my eye locked right there on the A7S3. So focus should be pretty dang good. All right, let me switch this back because holy cow. Oh. And put that lens back on. Whew. There, that's better. So there you go. There's the that's some background blur. Yeah. If you like bokeh, you can get it with this lens because dear Lord, can you ever just compress the crap out of the background on that thing? Feel like an optometrist? You probably could be. You can almost see my DNA exactly. Oh, the miniature like security camera things. You can't. It's really, I mean, you can. There are some apps out there that do it, or some things that'll do it. Like this thing. You know, this will have terrible barrel distortion. You can get rid of it somewhat in the app, but it's pretty difficult. So, all right. Folks, that's going to do it for me for the live stream. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being part of this channel. If you want to see behind the scenes stuff, so here's a sales pitch. If you want to see behind the scenes stuff, like all of the stuff that doesn't make it into the YouTube video and the behind the scenes of me doing, you know, the reviews, the testing that I do out in Alaska, like, and a whole lot of antics that go on when I'm doing those things, especially when I'm out with friends, then you can become a member of the channel. The $5 will give you like that behind the scenes sort of stuff. And you get bragging rights, part of the Sloan Ranger crew, all of that. And then if you are new to flying drones and you want to learn to fly drones, but you want to learn to do it safely and do it well, then I did release a drone flying course. There's a link for that in the description as well. And till then, the next video you see will be the review of this, the 11 to 20. That's coming. It'll be a couple of weeks for me on the 150 to 500 because it just came yesterday, and I'm really excited to put this thing through its paces. It's going to be awesome. So, but this is coming next, the 11 to 20, and then I think I'm also doing a video about like what your first drone should be, depending on what you want. So that'll be coming. Art so the minimum focus distance. Okay, Art, no lie. Tamron with the minimum focus distance like this, I literally had this touching the edge of something and it was focusing on it. And it was, you know, 5 centimeters away. The minimum focus distance with these Tamrons are crazy. Same thing with this. The fact that I can be 4 feet, you know, a meter and something away from a super telephoto lens and it focuses on me is just ridiculous. So I think what they say here is the minimum is 3. I don't remember what they said the minimum is. Anyway, it's incredible. Tamron's been killing it with these things. So thank you all for being here. Thanks for being a part. I'll be back same time, same place next week for another Q&A and maybe more, who knows. Or I might be out live streaming live from somewhere out in Alaska because I do that sometimes too. In the meantime, thank you all for being part of the channel. Be safe, be smart, and yeah, I'll see you again soon in the next video. Cheers, everybody. Have a great night.